It's quite strange, Charles. The temperature has fallen like 20 degrees over the
wonderful.
past. It is very nice, I must say. But sadly, Olymputz has fallen.
Oh, God.
I mean, it seems like it's got to be the end for Joe, right? What?
Hats off to the art department. But before we dive into that one a little bit, look at this garden. Look at the flower bed.
It's nice.
Here we have the idiots who were rioting around BLM wanted to tear down the statue of Christopher Columbus here, which is actually a statue of George Washington in Washington Square Park, but they wanted to tear it down because of Christopher Columbus.
Savannah Hernandez did a little thing that I saw. Maybe it's old, but I just saw it on Twitter, where she's just in Times Square or something asking people what's Independence Day about. And the number of like people in their 20s who have no idea even what country the United States declared independence from is just ridiculous.
You mean
They're not
Spain?
teaching anybody. They said Spain, France. People
Remulac.
thought it was slavery. They just have no idea. So public schooling is failing, Charles.
Well, it's become, frankly, the pay scales. And I know there are many good. Your mother was a public school teacher. My mother taught in Harlem in public school after the kids were out of the crib for 25 years. And there are many decent and hardworking public school teachers who put in many more hours than they should and do a lot of good beyond what the school system pays for. That said, the performance of Randy Weingarten, the long-standing dictator of the teachers union, I think the AFT, I believe, she belongs in prison with Fauci. I mean, what she did in prolonging the lockdowns for the benefit, in theory, protecting these teachers, without thinking through the damage that did, particularly to
the kids.
To the kids. And I was a different kind of student, and I still am a student. I was one of those students who loved getting the new books and loved going to class, and I really enjoyed the whole experience of private school, never one day in public school. But you think about your first day in school, and you're this, I can remember mine. I mean, your life consists of being woken up and your mother makes you breakfast, and then you go out to Washington Square Park and you play, and you do that, and you go back for lunch and you have a nap, and you go back to Washington Square Park and you play, and then, you know, it's late August and people start saying, you know, the routine's going to change. What do you mean? Like, you're going to school.
You're going to set up the weed table.
Like, what's that? It's like where you go to school. Like, you're not going to play in the park until after school. Well, I want to play in the park.
Yeah.
You know, and so you're looking forward, well, with some trepidation to school, and then you discover that Randy Weingarten and Fauci and the others are saying, you know what, you're staying at home, but the bad news is you can't go to the park, you're in lockdown.
Right.
You know, and you're like, what's lockdown? I'm just a little kid, I didn't do anything wrong. No, we're going to lock you down for, if you're a 2-year-old, for 100% of your life.
Right.
You know, at home.
Yeah, what if you're like 5 or 6 or 7 right now, and so much of your life has been masked up and staying home and afraid of people?
Right. And the premise of having government outside of family is that government, I understand it to be that government's going to do things for you in a scale that you can't accomplish for yourself. And so therefore, a portion of your income, a portion of your wealth should go to support that activity. And in particular, it's going to help the most vulnerable people among us, the young and the old and the infirm. But here you're torturing the young, and then think about the old. The number of people who were put on ventilators, where the operator of the ventilator didn't know what the hell they were doing, or the ventilator was dirty. The number of people who now, in hindsight, we learn about died, quote, with COVID, but we don't really know why they died. This is, if you're honest about the period 2020, March 2020 forward, it is a masterclass shit show. And then we get to Joe Biden, Schmo Biden. I mean, the art department has once again outdone itself, but I don't think at this point even Jill can be proud of Joe Biden. I mean, this is everything the man touches turns to shit. I mean, we think about the tweet yesterday, which I savaged, where he was talking about Bidenomics. That's where we build the economy from the middle out.
Yeah,
and
what
the
is he
bottom
talking
up.
about with that?
You know, from the middle out. That's called obesity.
But what does he even mean?
He didn't know. Who knows?
Yeah, that makes no sense.
Right, and then Hillary Clinton, of course, had to open her pie hole and make a comment on Twitter thanking Joe for all the great infrastructure projects that are because of the Biden administration. No, they're not. And on the same day that Biden's touting Bidenomics, the rating agency Fitch, which is highly thought of and does very credible work, at the end of the day they say, F you, you're no longer a AAA. And Janet Yellen's like, wait a minute, that's not fair. I mean, I deserve an A. I deserve a AAA.
Not fair. What is that lady, 70? You're talking about fair?
She's a moron. Anybody who would work for Joe Biden, the moron, is a dumber moron than Joe Biden, basically. I don't want to hear it.
Well, you could qualify for the smartest person he knows. It's in a wide open field there, Charles.
I mean, that dog is smarter than Hunter Biden.
This is a particularly fluffy dog.
Yeah, did you see that Hunter Biden, by the way, was caught again lying to the court?
Yeah, he said he's admitted to the bar in Connecticut and maybe D.C. or something, and his license was suspended because he didn't pay the bill.
Well,
so that right there is perjury and another potential criminal charge.
Yeah, these are people who've just been told, look, the rules don't apply to you.
Yeah, exactly.
And don't worry about it. You know, for whatever reason, you've won the game of life, and you're going to be taken care of. You can lie to your heart's content. You can lie to your heart's content. You can steal to your heart's content.
Do whatever with hookers.
To your heart's content. You hookers and blow.
Tweet it, record it, do whatever.
The FBI's going to protect you. Don't worry.
No, they're going to go get the hookers for you.
And the blow.
Wait, let's just go up here real quick because I want to show you something unusual happening here, Charles. We got a whole building being constructed on Fifth Avenue. I don't know if I've seen that type of activity in my entire life.
Yeah, this is, I wonder if they're taking the ones found next to it. Or if they're
well, I don't think so. There was a crane in there when I was walking down. They've got some pretty substantial project going, and then up the street here, they have the whole sidewalk taken apart. You really get a interesting...
See, the Bartlett tree experts.
Yeah, right. They were taking down the trees before, but there's a whole construction crew, like multiple layers to the underneath. Well, they took down one crane that was in there before. Right. They were up there evaluating. It's quite a project. Now, you were talking about infrastructure before, Charles. RFK went on to Jimmy Dore and was talking about his trip to the border, where RFK said that major sections of the wall are sort of like there. The walls are laying down, waiting to be installed, and Mayorkas, apparently to be vindictive, decided they don't want to use this already paid for Trump wall that's very substantial. So according to RFK, they put up some kind of chain link fence. And then
sign, steal me?
Well, I mean, RFK said it's nowhere near as substantial as the Trump wall, and that furthermore, one of the latest tactics of these cartels, instead of sending people, is to use horizontal drilling equipment designed for fracking to create pneumatic tubes and send drugs through the tubes to some recipient on the other side. And what RFK said is that the Trump wall was designed to defeat this by going something like 12 feet underground, and the Mayorkas thing is just a post-hole fence that doesn't guard against any of that. So just to be vindictive, they're wasting money rather than using stuff that's already been paid for and better.
Yeah, we didn't sign up for this. I mean, the people who voted for Biden, most of them voted for unity and a reduction in the rhetoric and for the supposed experience of the wise 36-year vice president.
What you got was crack and crime.
Which is senator and vice president, which is just total rubbish.
So this is new. This is, I think, a migrant business selling drinks and fruit out of a cooler on the street.
Another one.
Just in the past week, I've seen these popping up everywhere.
Well, I've seen that one many times. This is a business to provide food and diets for the illegal immigrants. And the restaurant owner across the street there is paying rent.
Hang on. Yeah. This is very bad for 3D shoes. The water. Whoops. This guy's on the electric tricycle. Sorry, what were you saying, Charles?
The restaurant owner over there, he's paying rent on that space, but the person with the cooler is not. And I doubt they're charging sales tax.
Well, and
on the
also, who
food.
knows what kind of conditions that food is prepared in?
There's 2 coolers. 4
I'm
coolers,
saying,
actually.
I'm seeing them everywhere now. This is just in the past week.
I think it's probably the same team that does the Louis Vuitton fake stuff. They probably say, we could do the fake stuff, we don't get caught. Let's go downscale.
I
and do
think it's a
fake food."
different team, but it's the same kind of idea. We've got criminal vendors on the streets who are, sucking out the tax base, and Charles, it's so distressing what's going on.
Yeah, well, it is. And I mean, nobody, I doubt that anybody other than the criminal element is voting for this. I mean, I really, you saw it actually, interestingly, in Oakland, California, which is not exactly Republican. The NAACP, again, not Republican, leadership there is saying, finally, forget this F the police. We need more police. We need discipline of the criminals.
It's too late.
It's we, the residents. Look, this is out.
It's interesting because somebody was noticing that the Weed World trucks are gone.
Yeah, the hemp philosophy appears to be
It's failed.
gone.
It's a flawed philosophy. But a viewer sent me a message on YouTube asking what's going on with Weed World trucks. There's definitely been some kind of crackdown. There was that store on 7th Avenue that had the sign that said they've seized the weed. Whoa, look at that dog.
The happy dog.
That is a giant dog. Ha! It is always funny to see little kids hanging out with dogs.
Right. Hopefully not in the dog's mouth.
It's better, I think little kids and little tiny dogs are even funnier.
Yeah.
But, Charles, we got a disaster on our hands here. Just look at it.
I know. I don't understand these buildings that are going up. I don't understand who thinks you're going to be buying new construction in New York City. Because a small apartment, a 1-bedroom apartment in these buildings down here is going to be $1 million, easy.
But I thought you said it's all foreign money coming in.
Well, yeah, it could be. I'm talking about what American would do this. Here's another release.
Whoa. Charles, Japonica's out of business.
No, it's not.
Oh, it's not? Oh, is it the next block? You're right.
I anticipated your comment.
No, you're right. There it is.
I made.
I'm losing my bearings because everything looks so different with all these huts around and.
Yeah. Now you think the bums are going to say, well, okay, where do I put my garbage or where do I put my recycling?
keep
I
it
think I'll put
straight.
it over there.
Actually, I think they are pretty good about it because they want to go to the supermarket later with the cans.
Careful. You got the light, but sometimes they don't stop.
So, Charles, obviously the big issue that we're going to be discussing when we go to the First Amendment Forum, which people are going to be able to watch on subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth and odyssey.com/@crowdsourcethetruth
And the tooth.
and the tooth or crowdsourcethetruth .substack.com is, of course, the new indictment against Trump. It's pretty ridiculous, in my opinion.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in depth. I'm not a lawyer, as people know, but there's so many holes. I mean, this is Alvin Bragg's. There you go. Alvin Bragg's indictment, I think, is stronger than the most recent Jack Smith shit show.
That's like saying my mother is stronger than Dr. Ruth Westheimer, maybe, but
Is she still alive, Dr. Ruth?
either way, like, what's the contest? Neither of them are lifting a 100-pound weight.
I did watch the 2-minute press conference where that self-important bearded goon, Jack Smith,
Oh my God.
got up there, and I was struck by how few people were in the audience. I mean, if this was going to be so earth-shaking, I would have thought there'd be 500 people in the audience.
Well, who knows where they're doing it and who they can accommodate, but that guy just drove very close to you on the bicycle, Charles. That thing hits your foot, your knee, your ankle, hospital for the next 6 months.
For him.
Or cast, at least.
Once I got done with it.
Well, the thing is, a lot of super legal experts are somewhat confounded by this, saying, oh, how can Jack Smith bring a thing like this, that he should be indicted for stupidity, Greg Jarrett said. Look at that new building, Charles.
What?
Isn't that new?
No, that used to be.
But that one on the end.
No, that was all
That's part of it?
That used to be that pizza place.
Yeah, that's where Japonica used to be.
No. What was the pizza place?
Stromboli's and the
Stromboli was
bowling
fantastic.
alley and everything.
This is like fake townhouses.
Oh, so there's probably a garden up there.
There's a garden, you can see it. And I looked a while back, the floor-through apartments were like $4 or $8 million.
Wow.
You know?
Well, I was going to say that one there, I mean, that could be 2 stories and it's got its own garden. That obviously expensive, but I don't know. Who the hell wants to live here for $8 million?
Somebody who stole a whole bunch of money from Kazakhstan.
Yeah, maybe Hunter Biden.
Exactly.
How much blow can you fit in that apartment?
Probably a lot. Probably churn out some marijuana in there.
Well, but these major legal experts, including Jonathan Turley, they're almost like surprised to see Jack Smith doing this. But in addition to being, all the things that they say that he is, this guy is a lawfare practitioner. So part of the reason I think that they're so surprised is that they have some expectation that this is like a real indictment.
Well, what I saw, I forget what I was watching, but someone made the eloquent point that in the 2015-16, you can go back to 12 as well, but just certainly with 15 and 16, there's no question that Hillary Clinton and now Mark Elias is so dirty that Biden company had parted with him. I saw that yesterday.
What Biden company was it?
No, Biden's team is
they had
said we're not
retained
working
him?
with Elias.
Wow.
anymore. So that team in 15-16 definitely attempted to rig, paid a lot of money and attempted to rig the Democratic primaries. I would argue even the Republican primaries in the general election failed, and then attempted to rig the transition and the Trump administration, and arguably the 2020 election. And these are all, if not proven fact, easily proven.
Well, but no, I think they are. I mean,
right. Well, I'm just saying some elements of what I said are not necessarily proven, but and now we have the government. This isn't the Trump campaign doing it or the Hillary Clinton campaign. This is the government with our taxpayer money cooking up absurd charges with the goal of simply demoralizing Trump and trying to cut off his campaign money. The reality is, I think the money's going to flow in even faster and larger to Trump.
Well, they're talking about how so much of it needs to be utilized
in the shade
for
over there?
legal fees. This guy was like a foot behind us, and somebody else was making weird noises, so I wasn't sure who was doing what.
Yeah, it's nice to see a kid playing.
Right. Little kid playing with the chess sharks.
The chess sharks. Most of these guys are actually very good chess players.
That's what I
and
mean.
They gamble.
I don't think it's a good environment for that little kid, but
Probably not. New York City isn't either.
Correct.
The Northeast and maybe the U.S. isn't either. So we're about to go through a safari park here. We may see quite a few homeless people. They may have checked out from the lunch.
So the other thing, Charles, that I'd like to do, because we heard about it the other day, we checked it out, and there were a lot of people hanging outside that Roosevelt Hotel where the FBI was trying to ruffle your feathers but failed. The problem seems to be getting even worse, and now Eric Adams has said that this migrant crisis is coming to a town near you. Apparently what they're doing, there was some $430 some odd million deal where Eric Adams is paying companies that were testing COVID to use their vans to drive migrants somewhere.
Drop them off?
Yeah, just drive them out of New York City. I mean, what the hell is this? It's just like the slow folding of dog shit into a giant chocolate pudding bowl and hoping that nobody will notice that the pudding tastes super salty.
Well, this is Eric Adams at his worst. I mean, he's a moron. Look at this guy.
I mean, it's not just him, though, because obviously Joe Biden allowing all these people to come here. The other thing that I saw on Redacted, there was, I forget the guy's name, he's got a website called muckraker.com, and he received a document from an illegal Chinese immigrant. Oh my God, that guy's feet smell terrible.
It's a woman.
Oh my God. Anyway, muckraker.com got this document which is instructions on everything that you need to do to get into the United States, as far as how to apply for the different legal stuff. Is that?
That's a big ass power.
Yeah.
Next to this one.
Maybe this guy's doing something
And
with
here's
pills.
our kids playing right next to this.
Right, and that guy's doing something with pills. But the point is, this guy got a document that was like a set of instructions for how to get to America once you arrive here, what to do,
How to fleece the system.
how to fleece the system, all the legal documents and blah, blah, blah. And it was written in Chinese. And then separately, I saw a thing that said that Israel sent something like 20,000 African immigrants to the United States because they didn't want them in Israel.
Here.
So, like, what is going on here? So we got a bunch of people riding around against traffic. That's what happens.
Smack that guy in the head.
He's
Look at
going
this,
the wrong way.
Police here, police there.
Oh, wow,
This
that
is
was a restaurant.
Bidenomics at work. Guys smoking dope.
This is out. Disco-Rama is now Dunkin' Donuts. You used to be able to get CDs there for $9.99.
There used to be a liquor store here too.
Yeah.
Everything's out. The corner store there is out, 21,000 square feet.
Crazy. You know, the other thing I've noticed is a lot of the businesses that are coming in, not just restaurants, they don't seem like American businesses. You know, they've got anime characters in the windows. They seem definitely much more geared toward an Asia-focused customer.
Yeah. And this is Vetco and Petco.
I guess they have like just get your dog a COVID vaccine from that probably. So the other thing is Ford said they're going to lose $4 billion on EVs, Charles. That sounds bad.
Sounds like Bidenomics.
Well, I mean, this is what happens when Joe Biden and AOC tell you how to make your high technology product rather than an engineer.
You left out Pete head of transportation.
Buttigieg, right. Yeah, I mean, they're coming up with all kinds of stupid ideas, and this seems to be what they want to do because Europe has introduced some law that says that every cell phone has to have a USB-C port on it.
Why is that?
Well, because they think that that is standardizing it, and they feel like Apple is abusing you to invent some kind of innovative connector and then license it to people. And so they say everybody has to use USB-C. But what I say is a bunch of bureaucrats in Europe are not engineers. And tomorrow, if somebody introduces some sort of new connector that has some capability that we can't conceive of right now, I don't think the law in Europe should prevent innovation in technical products.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. Back in the 90s, Nokia was on top of the heap. Nokia and Ericsson. They
Right.
were, top dominating cell phone technology and other aspects of high-tech electronics. Now they're in deep shit, both of them. And you look around Europe. I did a taping for John Batchelor today on CBS Radio, talking a little bit about this. And one of the things that people don't seem to understand is that when you're running a business that's making things and pumping out things in quantity, one of the most important things you care about beyond your workforce is reliable energy sources, so that you have
Right.
reliable heat, cooling, and electricity to make sure that your production processes are going to function.
Yeah.
The second you go to wind energy powered by all the blathering coming out of the European Parliament and various national parliaments in Europe, and you give up on nuclear and you give up on natural gas and you give up stuff that actually does work, then suddenly you can't manufacture reliably and you can't hope to innovate responsibly and have research libraries. You can, but that's why people come here to do that. But and all people also forget that in the real world, forget Washington and the European Parliament, in the real world, if you want to collect foreign currency to pay off your foreign currency debts, you've got to export manufactured products. You can export services and get it. It's tougher to do it in volume. You can export manufactured stuff, and that's how you pay down your debts. When you destroy your manufacturing capabilities, which is what the Europeans have already done,
Yeah.
you're destroying the nation. They don't understand it. I mean, this collection of knuckleheads, the EU should be renamed the PU. It stinks. It should be dismantled. They should go back to their national identities, the French, the Germans,
Yeah, I
the UK,
agree.
the Italians. They can manage their currencies, maybe Spain, maybe. But a lot of the other countries are
Greece.
hopeless. Belgium, I mean, you're not gonna conquer Africa again.
Well, we got to talk about how they're getting ready to conquer. But Charles, we're out of time, and we've got to
Okay.
make our way over to the First Amendment Forum. People can join us on odyssey.com/@crowdsource the truth. Speaking of France, this is a good place.
It is actually a nice place.
Oh, wait a minute. No, they didn't change the name,
They
right?
did change the name.
So wait, so this is not La Express
It's
anymore.
the same menu, basically. It used to be called Express,
Yeah.
but I think they just
Well, maybe
took
I
it
don't
over.
know. Well,
This
anyway,
is your classic French.
I do like that place, and I used to live right over there. Oh, looks like they're doing something over there too. Anyway, we'll be back in just a minute. Please join us. Now is a great time to become a sponsor.
It's a City of New York vehicle. It just
Totally
basically
almost ran
went
us
right
over.
through the light. Douchebag.
BD. What is that?
1970.
Anyway, thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll be right back. Join us for the First Amendment Forum.